Hello, I'm Dr. Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature HD 18 against the incumbent Ernest Bailes, who runs on the Republican ticket but is actually a Democrat. And they have a word for it. They call them secret sleepers. This is the Democrat word for what they do, how they infiltrate the Republican Party. They run a Democrat candidate posing as a Republican. That's what Ernest Bailes does. He puts all these signs up saying he's a conservative Republican. He goes to Austin, he votes for the Democrats as a hard left progressive. So it's a problem we have with Ernest Bailes, and what I want to look at in this series, this is going to be part 2 of Ernest Bailes and Terrenos Houston. Ernest Bailes played an instrumental part with his friend and hunting buddy Trey Harris in creating what's the largest human sex, drug, and child trafficking hub currently in the United States of America, which is called Terrenos Houston or Colony Ridge. And it's expected to grow exponentially. He's changing our entire district to a sanctuary district, and it's becoming a third world shanty town. So he has phase 1 of the shanty town, and he's going to expand it into Tarkington. And we can expect that if Ernest Bailes finishes his term and this continues to go on, that our entire district is going to be overrun. It's going to be a third world shanty town, and the Mexican drug cartels are going to be in control. This is a way for Ernest Bailes to make a quick buck, and he talks about it. Oh, we're going to have, this is great, we're going to have demographic change. I am working to bring about demographic change in our House district. And the other thing, he goes around when he's campaigning, we've got the fastest growing school district in the whole nation. Of course we do. We have to educate these foreign nationals. This is not, what you're doing is you're dumping, if you want, we can't think of a better word for it right now, tens, hundreds of thousands soon of foreign nationals. And there's a bad Supreme Court decision that says that we're obligated to educate. This is not natural growth. This is sudden exponential growth by creating a sanctuary for illegal aliens, illegal migration in our community. And we have to foot the bill. We have to foot the bill. And what does that mean? Every 6 months, another $15 million school bond. And they try to guilt trip you. It's your fault. Oh, look at this school. We got all these temporary buildings and trailers, and it's your fault because you're opposing another, it's like taxes going up. It's a big, we're a small community, a rural community. We have a lot of economic challenges, and then we have this heavy burden that Ernest Bailes gleefully places upon us. He doesn't care. He's got his money, and I expect him, just like what's happened, he got these pastors. These pastors are like, yeah, we need Ernest Bailes and we need Trey Harris, and we're going to transform this community. It's going to be the largest hub of migration. The demographics are going to be changed, but don't be afraid. This is good for our community. It's good. And the pastor advocating that, who's in Trey Harris's back pocket, he's left. Went by his church the other day. Third of the church is gone. Trey Harris and Ernest Bailes are killing our community, killing it. And on top of that, we have, sewage, human sewage, just being spewed out into our rivers and creeks. And, the substandard, just to have a dumping ground for people who are being exploited. I had a friend who went over there and talked to people, and these are people who don't have citizenship, aren't here legally. And they feel like they're being exploited. They're desperate. They want help. They're being exploited by Trey. That's their statement, by Trey Harris, and this is being allowed, protected by Ernest Bailes. He's in Austin protecting this enterprise of Colony Ridge here in our area. Devastating. And of course, I'm opposed to illegal immigration. I worked on the border for 3 years, but we're talking about human beings who are being exploited by Trey Harris, and its consequence also by Ernest Bailes. And where are they supposed to go? What are they supposed to do? no options, no recourse for them. So it's really a horrible thing, what's going on. And I still don't, it's the power of money. I don't understand. I'm going to defeat Ernest Bailes decisively. But he has, I have to admit, he has organization and he has a network of people. I think a lot of people in this network, they don't understand what he's doing to our community. They're blind to it. But I'm going to force them to see it. And I'm going to hold them morally accountable. You know, it's like, you're a pastor. You're a pastor and you support this environmental damage, pollution, exploitation of vulnerable people, and you're going to support this in our community, and the burden that it's placing on us, just another burden, is traffic. It's incredible going from Plum Grove to the highway. It's not that far, and yet it's just clogged all the time. I mean, things that Ernest Bailes hasn't dealt with, and you can't get good. So you go around the corner here, the cell phone just drops. You can't even get cell. Here we're on the 21st century United States of America, and we can't get good cell phone coverage. Some of the roads here, I've driven on better roads in Africa when I was doing ministry over there than we have just up the road here. I mean, he's supposed to be our representative, but he's just he's negligent. So this video, I'm looking at another chapter in this article about Terrenos Houston, Colony Ridge, and we'll look at some video footage from Wayne Dolcefino and his investigative work.
Hey Judge, Colony Ridge is now going to be the biggest city in Liberty County. Are you proud of what it looks like out there?
The sounds of silence. And as Colony Ridge swallows more land, neighbors in Plum Grove rightfully fear they face extinction. From raw sewage, destruction of their once quiet roads, increased flooding.
They've just pretended like nothing's wrong while Plum Grove is going to hell. I mean, we're just trying to survive.
The population of Plum Grove has been cut in half. Just 400 people left battling a rich developer, and a county government clearly looking the other way. In December, the Cleveland ISD superintendent texted the state rep Ernest Bailes. Plum Grove growth is killing me.
My family's been here in Liberty County since about the 1870s, so this is home as much as anyone else is here.
Folks in Plum Grove have a good memory, so they remember the promises of their state rep.
I really hope that you guys will let me help.
You would think if he cared, Representative Bailes would be helping us find those missing drainage records, but instead, he has withheld some of his government records, including records of his phone calls. Representative Bailes won't even say if he's accepted any hunting trips with Trey Harris. Helicopter video proves the ditches in Colony Ridge are a flooding danger, jeopardizing not just Plum Grove, but folks all the way down the East Fork of the San Jacinto River. And Schrader loved his quiet life along Maple Branch Creek in the tiny town of Plum Grove, but not anymore.
Never would have imagined this nightmare. It's a nightmare that you can't wake up from. And it just keeps getting worse.
On the day we visited, the creek was literally lime green, drainage from Colony Ridge, he tells us. But this was a good day. The creek has been black before, a big fish kill. Maple Branch Creek poisoned with tens of thousands of gallons of raw sewage from Colony Ridge. Drainage from the neighborhood has triggered 5 separate TCEQ investigations, saying why so many Colony Ridge residents need Trey Harris to finance their lots in Colony Ridge. Now 97% of all foreclosures come from this one neighborhood. Why they call this place the Colonias. And pictures from Colony Ridge show some residents living without water or sewer, living in unfinished homes and broken down mobile homes. And they're not the only troubling pictures we see. Roads littered with dead animals and trash. Then Liberty County engineer Louis Bergman was a big cheerleader for Colony Ridge. Quoting, "Colony Ridge has been one of the best land developers in Liberty County." Bergman now declines to say if he ever accepted trips with Trey Harris, quoting, "I'm sorry I can't help you and do not wish to make any further comments." You know who else refuses to say if he's ever taken trips with developer Trey Harris? The Plum Grove State Representative Ernest Bailes. You'd think if the answer was no, it would be simple. But it's this guy who has now stabbed Plum Grove residents in the back. County Judge Jay Knight.
But I also want to mention, I was thinking about it today, there's the classic movie, It's a Wonderful Life. And I guess it was the town, Bedford Falls, right? It's a little tranquil, idyllic little American town. Of course, in real life, you're always going to have your problems because you have human nature. And there are virtues in people, but we're also fallen and sinful. And you're always going to have problems wherever you go. Until we get to the kingdom of God. Even when Jesus Christ comes again, it says he rules with a rod of iron because you have the forces of evil within our own natures that have to be repressed. So what happened in It's a Wonderful Life? Well, you have George Bailey, right? George Bailey is going to protect his community. He's a banker, right? He runs the savings and loans to look out for the little guy. And then you have Potter, Mr. Potter. He's trying to change Bedford Falls into Pottersville or Potter's Field. A filthy, rundown shanty town. Why does Mr. Potter want to do that? First, he doesn't care about people. All he cares about is money and power and prestige. That's it. And he's willing to exploit people and cut corners for a quick buck, just the way Ernest Bailes and Trey Harris do. So that's unfortunately, I'm not saying that we're Bedford Falls, we've always had certain problems. That's another issue. It's like, how come our problems in our community have never been addressed? These festering issues of, addiction and other issues that plague our community. But overall, yes, we see it across the country, but overall I do think that there's a lot of good things about our community here in Shepherd and Cleveland and Liberty and San Jacinto County. They're good, wholesome, traditional American communities with their challenges. So you have Mr. Potter, who's the duo, not the dynamic duo, the wretched duo of Trey Harris and Ernest Bailes. They represent Mr. Potter, and they're creating Potter's Field or Pottersville, which is Colony Ridge, Terrenos, spreading exponentially. It's going to engulf our entire House district. And people in Hardin County, they should be afraid. Be afraid, be very afraid. We're in the same House district. And we're going to be overrun with cartel activity. We already are. And don't think, well, that's in a different county. It's in the same House district. And sadly, Ernest Bailes is coming for you. So you need to protect yourself and vote this villain out of office. Get him out of there. We have an opportunity on March 5th. Actually, vote early. Register and vote early. Hopefully we can decisively defeat him with early voting. So sadly, we haven't had a George Bailey to stand up bravely against the Potters, the wretched duo of Harris and Bailes. But now we have a chance. You can be George Bailey. Cast a vote to destroy and defeat our Pottersville people. Mr. Potter, who's be seeing two people, Trey Harris and Ernest Bailes. Let's get them out of there so that we can have a safe community, a prosperous community, natural growth, so that we can, thrive as a community, not have a hub of human drug, sex, and child trafficking here in our community. It endangers all of us. And I do believe in law enforcement. I believe in immigration law enforcement. But we're all created in the image of God. Jesus Christ died on the cross for all mankind. And every human life has value, including illegal aliens and illegal migrants. And like I said, I'm not saying that they're not above the law. They need to be held accountable if they broke the immigration law, whatever laws they break, they need to be held accountable for it. But we can't have this crime-ridden community just grow exponentially. We can't allow people, poor and desperate people, to be exploited. Just can't have it. And then prostitution. So you go to Colony Ridge, women are lined up on the sides of the road at night. How many of these women are sexually trafficked? like I said, these are things that have been going on for years now, and it doesn't look like it's much of a concern to Ernest Bailes that we have sex trafficking, child trafficking, drug trafficking, and minors, dead bodies of minors, human body parts. This is going to be the next episode. We're looking at episode 2. Episode 3 is going to be about cartel activity. 14, 15, 16-year-old boys' bodies found dead, riddled with bullets because of cartel activity. And Ernest Bailes and Terrenos Houston, they let the cartels do whatever they want with impunity. The law is not going in there to enforce it. I'll tell you what, if I'm state rep, I tolerate that stuff. We're not going to have cartel activity in our community under my watch. Like I said, something that maybe Bailes will countenance that. I won't. So watch this program. Please read this article. Be informed. I think that's the biggest problem, is people have no idea of the shady business that and the corrupt activities and the left-wing extremism that this wretched villain, Ernest Bailes, is involved in. So we need to expose him, and we need to hold him accountable by voting him out of office. It's not really going to hurt him. He's not going to be able to create mischief in Austin for us anymore. But this guy he's got his little patent on his machine that forcibly collects genetic samples from livestock. I guess he's got his estate and his ranches and everything, so he'll be fine. So it's not like any harm will come to him. Maybe, fact of the matter is, if there's any criminal activity going on in Colony Ridge and Terrenos Houston, it's going to be looked into. So I guess if he was involved in that, there could be consequences down the line. But it doesn't matter, right? Either way, if this man goes off to happier days and continues to enjoy his opulence and wealth that he has, that's fine. It's just we need to stop what he's doing in our community. It needs to be stopped, and he needs to stop it as soon as possible. And that'll be the first day of early voting. And it's not about me. Maybe there'll be other candidates, but whoever it is, we need to get Ernest Bailes out of office. It's important. We have to do that. So I'm appealing to you. Like I said, it's not about me. I'll do something that Bailes doesn't. I will vote conservative values and Republican priorities. I'll stay true to our political party. Bailes runs as a Republican, and he supports the Democrats in Austin. So that's something that the very least I will do is represent the values of our areas. That's all I do. That's something a lot more than Bailes will do. He campaigns as a conservative Republican and throws his light in with the Democrats in Austin. So that's one thing at the very least I can promise you. If I have any failings, that's one thing I'm going to do, which would be a lot better than Bailes, is I'll actually support the Republican Party in Austin, something that he won't do. But I want to do more than that, because the role of as a representative is to represent people of this district, their interests, their concerns, and to help this community. There's probably no one else in government. That's your job, right? Your job is to look out for your house district, take care of your people. And that's not one of the priorities of Ernest Bailes. He's just looking for a quick buck. But it'll be my priority. I think it's a very serious thing to get in that role and to look out for your people. That's what it's all about. And that's not what Bailes is about, but that's what I will be about. So please watch this program, be informed, and let other people know. I have some flyers. You can write me and I can send them. I got some new ones. 10 reasons why you should not vote for Ernest Bailes. It's a trifold. I have another one. 10 reasons why you should vote for me. Why you should vote for Dr. Missick. Hello, I'm Dr. Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature, HD 18. I'm running against the incumbent, Ernest Bailes, who's been a notorious rhino. He campaigns as a conservative Republican, but in Austin, it's a totally different story. He's a reliable supporter of leftism, progressivism, and the Democrat Party, consistently. So I want to look at one of the other aspects of Ernest Bailes. I talk about him in different videos. And what I want to talk about in this video is his involvement with Colony Ridge, Terrenos Houston. And this has become the largest hub of human drug, sex, child trafficking in the United States under his watch. Ernest Bailes, I know for a fact because I heard him say it, he's supportive of what's going on in Colony Ridge, Terrenos Houston, and he's in Austin protecting that and advocating for it. I guess that's what he looks at as his constituency, is that family that's behind this thing that's devastating our community. So I go in more detail in the prior program, so if you're concerned or interested in what's going on and my experience with it, please go and watch that program. I want to look at this article in this episode, and of course we're going to continue to talk about this. If you want information, there's the two Wayne Dolcefino reports. One's called The Sounds of Silence, the other's called Stabbed in the Back. Another important resource is this article from May 1st, 2023 by Todd Bensman, entitled Texas Massacre Happened in America's Largest Illegal Alien Colonia, and the major U.S. media won't say so, how at least 50,000 illegal immigrants have changed the once rural East Texas hinterlands for the worst. This is so bad. This is so bad. I mentioned this in the last program in the series, how you had this pastor. He was in supporting Ernest Bailes and Colony Ridge, Terrenos Houston, 100%. And that man, he's a pastor, he resigned his church, he fled the community. And like I said, I go over there, and a third of the congregation's gone. Cleveland's dying, and it's sad. And I think what goes on is this Harris family just buys people out. So let's look at this article here. I'm going to go through a few pages of it. Austin, Texas. This is where the article's written from. A Mexican national is on the run after slaughtering a family of 5 Hondurans next door, including an 8-year-old child, in a small Texas town 2-hour drive east from here called Cleveland. 2-hour drive from Austin, but it's 30 miles north of Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. American News Agency reported the murdered parents. They report the murdered parents had asked their next door neighbor to stop firing the semi-automatic rifle at 11 p.m. on April 29th because they were trying to put a baby to sleep. The other 2 children survived under the bodies of the parents who died shielding them. So I don't believe that story. When you listen to things on the news, you listen to people saying things, you have to have a healthy degree of skepticism, and you have to have critical thinking skills. So I don't know what all was going on. You might not ever know. I mean, the fact of the matter is this Honduran family, they're victims, right? But they probably didn't want to, they concocted a story because they had no legal right to be in this country. They're probably involved in criminal enterprises, and that's where they told the story. But it's really shocking that this man killed these people. And apparently there's women, they threw themselves in the body of their children that they saved as he killed them. The land development company Terrenos Houston, or Colony Ridge, has successfully marketed owner financing lots to tens of thousands of presumed illegal immigrants, definitely illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, who cannot qualify for traditional bank loans. Owners then built shelters, shantytown, and homes of various kinds, sometimes tents, shacks. This is really crazy. What the media has not yet reported is that this horrific crime happened in what is regarded as America's largest settlement of illegal immigrants, one literally exploding in population amid a U.S. government fomented mass migration border crisis in Liberty County, now spreading into neighboring San Jacinto County, where the massacre occurred. Old-timers have been fleeing the new diversity of violent crime, murder, all-night weapons firing, and cartel trafficking that has boomed alongside the population. In Liberty County, and now spreading into neighboring San Jacinto County, where the massacre occurred, old-timers have been fleeing a new diversity of violent crime, murder, all-night weapons firing, and cartel drug trafficking that has boomed alongside the population. And different U.S. immigration enforcement agencies leave this area to itself. Apparently, the local police also often leave that area to itself. And it's not, apparently, there's been several murders in that area. I went over there. It's like a third world shanty town. I've been over there a few times. It's really shocking. And I'm going to overcome. I'm going to win this election. But there are people that support Ernest Bailes probably because they're on the take from him. Like when I posted this article, that's not true. This shooting didn't happen in Santa Fe or Terrenos Houston. That area. It happened in Trails End. Well, it's the greater Cleveland area spilling out. It's just like he said. This guy didn't take the time to read the article. He has I guess he sees it as an attack on Ernest Bailes, and so he's has this knee-jerk reaction. We can't have Ernest Bailes is killing our community. It's time to vote him out of office. My recently released book. This is Todd Binsman's book called Overrun: How Joe Biden unleashed the greatest border crisis in U.S. history. Dedicates a chapter of reporting this massive illegal immigrant colonia as a warning to America about the coming consequences of unfettered mass migration event that is now in its third unmitigated year, that has already seen more than 5 million foreign nationals settle in U.S. towns and cities. Following are edited excerpts from the chapter Forever Impacts. Look, we're going to have 20 million new illegal aliens in our country. For the longest time, all these Democrats and the news media, even including Fox, there's 11 million illegal aliens. For like 40 years, it's only been 11 million illegal aliens. And then it's 20 million. Well, we're going to have, at the end of the Biden administration, if it does ever end in 2024, we're going to have if 5 million illegal aliens are coming per year, as they are, I mean, you have 250,000 a month, right? It's kind of funny. You have 250,000 a month, and at the end of 2.5 years, it's just 6 million, 5 to 6 million. No, we're looking at probably 20 million illegal aliens at the end of this administration, or more. I mean, they're not even having encounters with these people. It's just pouring across our open border. And what's going to happen to America? I mean, when will it ever end? We're in a nation in decline, and if we don't control our border, we're doomed. As I was saying, a lot of people, because of the, Ernest Bailes, we have demographic change. Demographic change. He's given a speech about that, and what he's talking about is how he changed this House district into a sanctuary district for illegal aliens, and their overrunning is going to grow exponentially and take over the entire. Terrenos Houston is going to take over the entire House district. It's going to become a center for, as it already is, a center for cartel activity. But I've gone around and campaigning. I've been talking to people. People are planning to leave. I know several people that just, like I said, there's this pastor here. He's just supporting, fervently, fanatically supporting Ernest Bailes, as a lot of these pastors are, and he fled the community. And a third of his congregation. It's probably going to be more than that. I mean, Ernest Bailes is killing this whole community off by just letting the cartel take over our district. And like I said, I've heard it from his own mouth. This isn't second or third hand. He admitted to us that he's backing Colony Ridge. Watch the Wayne Del Trofino video. He's going on hunting trips with hiding text messages, erasing text messages between him and Trey Harris. So this is really sad. Let's look at what's going on here. The originals of Liberty County, Texas, the self-descriptor of lifelong Anglo residents like Jimmy Rollins, who trace their lineage to early settler families, have mostly fled what they regard as ruinous, irredeemable change. Settlement in the county wilderness, some 40 miles northeast of Houston, dates the 1830s and 40s, and boomed a bit when an oil field was discovered here in 1925, but didn't much change the cherished small town closeness, long lonely country lanes through uninterrupted timberlands, the hunting and fishing subsistence lifestyle, and the tiny high school and graduating classes until very recently. The loggers, the train mechanics, the ranchers, and state prison workers, they made their homes in and around Liberty County's quaint old townships carved out of dense forests with names like Plum Grove, Cleveland, Dayton, and Splendora. They raised each other's barns and dug one another's wells. Now 72, Jimmy Rollins was still farming near Dayton when I met him in May 2022. Just like his father, who was born and lived until he was buried at age 95 in Plum Grove, Rollins recalled riding a horse every Sunday to church and to school as a kid, barefoot until junior high, until he raised his own family much the same way, farming and following a rural country code of life. There's all country people. We got our meat out of them woods there. They was behind in time, but everybody pretty much knew everybody. Rollins Ricard, I enjoyed living here, not anymore. A jumble of single and double wide trailers on low stilts, hand-hewn shacks made of leftover construction material, and parked motorhomes has quickly overtaken tens of thousands of Liberty County acres and eradicated his rural way of life. This community is named Colony Ridge, upwards of 50,000, mostly Spanish-speaking Latinos, maybe more, nobody knows. They're living in some 30,000 homestead lots they purchased in recent years over some 35 square miles from Terrenos Houston, the land development company started by an original named William Henry Trey and his brother John Harris a decade earlier. These guys live in, apparently they live in Huntsville, but not living here. The boom began without let up about a decade ago when Houston Terrenos on Spanish language media platforms with international reach began marketing lot purchases with this unique owner method that didn't require traditional bank loads, proven job history, or even social security numbers. It's horrible. A significant portion of the new population that bought Terrenos lots are illegally present, according to sellers themselves, local police, schools officials, teachers, and other residents. In 2020, analyst Chuck DeVore of Austin-based Public Policy Foundation think tank dubbed Colony Ridge as the fastest growing Hispanic population in the United States and one of the fastest growing school districts. That's what Ernest Bailes is concerned about, is the school districts and the money he can make from that. DeVore figured the population of these communities is projected to reach as high as 250,000, a significant percentage not legally present in this county. Liberty County's booming Colony Ridge development make for an apt, emblematic harbinger of the kind of change that sudden explosive growth in illegal alien population can portend for citizens and residents already living and receiving communities as a result of the Biden border crisis. So I want to give a sneak preview of the other sections on this. Quality of life in Liberty County is going down. A frightening new diversity of crime. A frightening new diversity of crime. And then we have Mexican cartels come to town. I'm going to go through this article more in further programs, but let's look at this section really quick. The Gulf and Sinaloa cartels invested in Colony Ridge from its earliest inception, they said, financing lots for local operatives to run safe houses through which they move smuggled drugs and people from the border to the interior of America. They're using them still to smuggle people coming in under Biden. Evidence of cartel involvement dates from the earliest days of the illegal alien settlement boom to at least 2013 when federal, state, and local investigators raided a Mexican drug cartel's marijuana growth operation on 300 acres in Liberty County, finding explosives, 6,000 marijuana plants, worker bunkhouses, and guard towers. Local police at the time called it the largest and most sophisticated marijuana growing operation in the county's history. In July 2021, the DEA broke that dubious record with a new biggest drug bust in Liberty County history, with a raid that broke up a multi-million-dollar methamphetamine manufacturing lab operating inside one of the Colony Ridge dwellings. I'm going to go more into this in further programs as we go through this article. But let's talk a little bit more about the quality of life, and then we'll continue on about cartel activity and crime in Colony Ridge in the next program. As a former Plum Grove mayor, city councilwoman, apartment real estate developer, and proud original, Leanne Walker has waged an unremitting legal and political war to contain the ongoing Terrenos Houston development. She refers to this enemy as the Kraken, a multi-armed octopus sea monster of Scandinavian sailing mythology that could drag ships to the bottom of the ocean. I was born and raised by the forest, by the most salt of the earth people we could meet, by an original, she told me. My father was an original. His mother was an original. We're all on the same land. We are called the originals of Plum Grove. Walker's grievances and stories of the battle with the Kraken are far too long to recount here, such as whether the rapid pace of development floods the towns during the hard rains and allegedly poisoned rivers and the Gulf of Mexico with raw human waste. So that's the issue. There's no drainage, there's no proper sewage treatment facilities out there. So we have pollution going on. We have environmental damage that causes flooding, and we have pollution with human waste. But almost as offensive to the originals, the clear cutting, traffic jams, and floods they blame on the ever-sprawling Colony Ridge is that the newcomers make for bad neighbors. The amount of gunfire that's coming out there will blow your mind. I have a video you can listen to on New Year's Eve. It's not like Fallujah, Walker County, moving on to the loud Mexican music they play from Thursday night to Sunday. They put all their music on the same station and turn it up. Our homes are at 1 o'clock in the morning doing this, Walker said, using her hand to thump the drum like a table. That's why all the originals have left. I like Hispanic culture, but I don't like Mexican music too much. It's not my thing. But it doesn't matter what type of music that it is. To play blaring music at high levels into this is very inconsiderate. It's like noise pollution, and doesn't show common courtesy. So in the next program, we're going to be looking at the crime in Colony Ridge and the cartel activity. But as I've said, I've engaged with people doing campaign work, and there's a lot of people who've left, who've moved from that area, who've lived there their entire lives. Their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents lived there. Now because of what Trey Harris and Ernest Bailes have done in the community, they're leaving. And now it's kind of Cleveland. Colony Ridge is just like a cancer, just killing this entire house district. People need to stand up against this and stop it if we can. It's horrible, and Ernest Bailes doesn't care. He's just in it for money, and he needs to be held accountable, and we need to vote this guy out of office for the sake of our community, just to keep our people safe. And on top of that, to exploit illegal aliens like that, it's just, so what they do is they give them these lots, and they don't really have legal rights to stay there, and they just can evict them easily. And as we can see, they just created a safe haven for the cartels to set up shop, as they have. So this is an issue that has to be confronted. This is something that Ernest Bailes has done, and we need to hold him accountable and vote him out of office. Because I'm not interested in allowing this to continue in our community as Ernest Bailes does. He has a vested interest in supporting this, and we need to have somebody that's concerned about law and order and our citizens and justice and safety, like me. So we need to get Ernest Bailes out of office. So please vote for me, and maybe we can put this long nightmare to an end.